don't know, March. This episode felt like a filler episode because things happened, yet nothing happened. Just an introduction to these new cast members. However, y'all got me with the previews for the next episode. But let me stick to this one, and let's get into it. We are back with another recap of March, and I must say there isn't much to get into this episode, just new cast members introduction and a little more history on Prairie. Now, of course, we ended off last episode with the students getting ready for homecoming, and overall, it was a success in their eyes. So we start off with the band staff having a meeting about the homecoming performance. And the assistant director of band says that the homecoming performance was her favorite of the season and felt like the kids, because she felt like the kids were engaged, which can all be true. But in my mind, I am like, girl, please, that is such a generic answer, especially when it's homecoming. So everyone naturally is going to be engaged. And beyond that, this is homecoming after the pandemic-ish. So of course people was going to be engaged. I just think that answer was an immature one because, baby, if it was me, I would have been like, the drum majors need to squat lower, the dancers need to jump higher, and don't get me started on the trumpets. I don't know. I just feel like I would have been going in and making sure I break down as much details as possible about the show because at the end of the day, they are ranked number 8. Y'all are ranked number 8. So engaged or not, something is missing and more work has to be done. So I would have been critiquing the hell out of things. But I also get that she didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, and neither did anyone else, because right after she gave her answer, the associate director of band said it was the best show of that year for him. So after they were done, Miss Shawn, who is the director of dancer and also the wife of Doc, aka Dr. Z, said that many people was disappointed that the Legacy Black Foxes wasn't able to perform, being that it was their 50th anniversary. And I'm like, thank you, Miss Shawn. Tell us how the people really feel, okay? However, I also was like, now, Miss Shawn, let's be for real. Wasn't no one upset but the alumni dancers that wanted to relive their college dancing days on the field, which is fine because shoot, I don't want to get on the field too. But realistically, they knew that wasn't going to happen. So if they were upset, they need to take it up with the with COVID child. Granted, I do feel like since it was their 50th anniversary, they could have done something to where the alumni dancers did some stand dances or something, just to give them a little extra attention. But I mean, Miss Shawn said they did a tribute for them, so that was sort of good enough. So after that, Doc said he felt like the show was good and organic. And once again, I get it. I respect it. I like that they are speaking all this positivity about the show, but I also wish I could have heard them also speak about the negatives and turn it into a constructive criticism situation. Now, during his confessional, Doc brought up how he thinks being ranked number 8 is good because, in his words, you know you got to go to practice because you know you want to get to number 1. Now, Doc, who are you fooling? Because the damn show isn't me. I don't care how motivating it is being ranked number 8, nothing about that is good. And you can't make me believe that you like it. Because I know you are over there screaming on the inside. You gotta be. And although trying to find the good out of that ranking is cute, it isn't real. So stop trying to play that happy-go-lucky role on the show, because I'm not falling for it, but other people may. Now moving on, they started talking about the next team they will play, which is Texas A&M University, which is a PWI, and how it is a huge difference between the two schools and how they perform differently. Because of course, Prairie View is all about flavor and entertaining. It's all about the judge with them. But Texas A&M is more a military style type of band that mainly focuses on the field transitions. Boring. So because the Marching Storm will be playing at their stadium, Doc plan for the halftime show is to really focus on being more precise than anything. Now on the dancer side, it's a little bit more strict as far as their dance moves go. And Ms. Shawn talks about how when Prairie View play Texas A&M, they have to abide by their rules and basically have to change their formula of things based on what the faculty at Texas A&M wants. So basically the dancers can't move how they will normally dance because the white folks will get offended, and that's just so wild to me. Because in this day and age, people should do things how they do them as long as it's not offensive. It's not our fault y'all have no sense of flavor and style and march on the field like an army with sleepy music. That has nothing to do with us, so don't try to restrict us. It's really the audacity for me. And to be honest, if they ask trying to give them restrictions, I don't think the Storm should perform at the game. But I also get that the band has an obligation to their fans to perform and put on a show for them, so of course they will just suck it up. I just feel like Prairie needs to fight harder and have a pushback on the restrictions they receive, because how can someone find what you do offensive when they don't even know your culture? Granted, that's all white people ever do, is restrict us for doing things only for them to steal it and then whiten it up. But baby, times has changed and HBCUs better learn how to stand up for their ways. Period. Point blank period. So Ms. Sean also said that it can be overwhelming and disappointing for students, and if that's the case, speak the hell up or just don't show up and start learning how to make power plays with their ass. That's how I feel. Now, of course, y'all still have very strong feelings about this entire situation. And although I had that whole spiel to say, my thoughts sort of changed when Kaylan brought up how Prairie gets their funding from the Texas A&M school system. And now, that makes so much sense why Prairie is accepting the BS restrictions they are being given. Because hell, Texas A&M basically own them in a way. Child, talk about a quick history lesson, okay? Who knew? All I know is throughout this entire episode, the band members kept expressing how bad the tension is when they go over to Texas A&M. And of course, it's because they are a HBCU entering a big old dome stadium with a whole bunch of white folks. So they probably feel uncomfortable, especially knowing that Texas is a state known for their modern day racism. I'm just sick at the fact that they have to go through that. But man, this is all about money, power, and politics at the end of the day, so gotta go along with it. Moving on in the show, we are introduced to more band members. And can I just say, child, they are stacking up this series with a whole cast, a big cast on it, okay? So yeah, we are introduced into another drum major, Jesus. Right? Jesus. And his whole storyline would basically be based on him being a Mexican dude, being a drum major at an HBCU. I assume because that is what he talks about for his introduction. And I have thoughts on that, but I say that for another episode because I want to see if they would get into him a little more, or if they would just throw him in the show just because he's a Mexican guy at an HBCU. But I would love to hear y'all thoughts on that in the comments below. Because I don't know if they're gonna pull off like an Aaron, because they introduced Aaron and show Aaron, but we don't know much about Aaron at the end of the day. Speaking of Aaron, Jesus and Aaron meets up in the hallway in the band building and start talking about how they need to check up on the trombones. And y'all, when I say that entire scene looks so fake, I got so upset. And maybe I caught it because I understand filming, but it was definitely a cringy scene because it looked like they had refilmed the shot to make it look like Jesus and Aaron randomly ran into each other. Yeah, when the entire conversation between them happened, it was just awkward, as if they didn't have a connection with each other. That scene definitely came off overly produced. So after we get introduced to Jesus, we get a scene with Atea and Kaylan. Let me just say that I am so aggravated because I called that girl Atea last episode. And I just knew that was her name because I was saying it with so much confidence. OMG. But if you are watching this, girl, my bad. But anyways, I also have to say that the conversation with Kaylan and Atea also felt like a filler scene because the placement of it was very odd. And honestly, we didn't need it. I felt like they should have started off this episode with the dancers recapping the homecoming show and then backing that up with the scene of Kaylan and Atea because the two of them was talking about who should lead the Black Faucets when Kaylan leaves and how it's a difficult decision to make. Now, of course, Atea says Shelby should be captain, but that's her friend, so I expect her to say that. And we already know Kaylan thinks Shelby is too slick out the mouth. However, Shelby is on the show, so of course we will hear about her setbacks. But I am pretty sure the other girls that are interested in being a leader or being a captain of other dances have their downfalls too. But regardless of the fact, Kaylan says that none of the girls have shown her they are ready to step up, so it doesn't even matter. And to be honest, that is not okay because when it's time to choose another leader, they are supposed to be spotted from a mile away. Yet the girls are not giving Kaylan the energy that she needs from a leader. But moving along in the show, we are introduced to even more band members. And this time, we have twins. So we meet Will and Sheldon, and they are both second-year seniors, percussion section leaders. Ciao. That was a tongue twister, okay? Now, I told y'all before my last recap, so I have to say it again because y'all had to know I was not going to let this slide. But what the hell is a second-year senior? Someone in the comments, please let me know, because never have I ever heard of someone being a second-year senior. Like, what is that? So knowing that Will and Sheldon were in their 5th year of college, because technically that's what it is, but knowing that, I instantly assumed that maybe they didn't graduate on time in the average 4-year time frame most students leave in, which is fine because hell, as long as you see things through and get your degree, it don't matter. Hell, y'all are grown. But later on in the show, y'all just gonna have to pay that money. But later on in the show, they revealed that, unless y'all on scholarship, I had to say that. But later on in the show, they revealed that they are engineering students. And I said to myself, oh, okay, now that makes hella sense. Granted, I don't know the time frame it usually takes engineering students to finish their undergrad, but them being on their 5th year with a major like that, I totally get it, because those classes are a little bit more tedious than others. So a little backstory on the twins is that they are legacy students at Prairie, being that their mom and dad went there, and they are also legacy band members because their parents played in a band. That was amazing to hear, because that's how I'm trying to be with my kids, point blank period. You are going to FAMU and you are running for a student leader position, preferably the Royal Court, but that's all in my mind. But best believe I'm gonna make it happen. But anyways, while Will and Sheldon are in their confessional, I am getting an idea of their personality based on the stories they are telling from when they were growing up. And basically, Sheldon is the nice brother who shares, and Will is the brother that goes with whatever flow of the day. And they have that same personality now that they are older, where Sheldon is a good boy brother that goes to class and get things done, but Will just waits for his brother to bring him back the notes. I truly like seeing how different they are, because that's always fun to see with twins. Plus, their whole sibling back and forth banter is entertaining as well to watch. Also in their confessional, the boys talk about graduating and not knowing what their plans are, which is understandable because so many students go through that. And even if you plan out a vision for what you want to do when you graduate, that doesn't mean that's the path that you would take. So hearing them talk about that was important, especially when they brought up how people will always ask them, what are they going to do when they graduate? And their response will always be, I don't know. Baby, I know that feeling all too well, okay? Been there, done that, glad it's over. But then, whatever. So in this episode, we see the band members getting their grades checked by Doc, so he can make sure they are in good standing to stay in the band. And baby, Will is shaking his boots because baby, his grades is clearly not in a good place. Now the twins already spoke on how lazy Will is in school, and Will said he really don't care. But now that he got to see Doc, he's singing a different tune because his grades were bad and Doc called him out on it. And he tried to say that Sheldon be the only student in class passing compared to everyone else, as if that would help his case. Because clearly if Sheldon can pass, so can you and everybody else. And even more important than that, he is your brother. So whatever you are lacking in, he can help. You just rather not do anything or wait last minute to get it all done. So just say that, own up to your mess ups. Now what got me was that in their confessional, Will brought up how they both are trying to find a balance between being engineering students and being in a band like everybody else. But they haven't found it yet. And I'm just over here like, baby, it's a little bit too late for that, ain't it? Because one, y'all are about to graduate really soon. And beyond all of that, it is clear that Sheldon has found his balance. But Will is trying to use him as a crutch, and it's just not working because Sheldon gets his work done. He is succeeding with balancing school, balancing being in the band, and on top of that, he's in a whole relationship. So the excuses Will is trying to push just do not cut it. Now speaking of Sheldon and his girlfriend, we get introduced to her. And baby, when I say he is in love, he is in love, okay? So him and his girl Cheyenne are talking about moving in with each other after they graduate. Child, just a whole lot of lovey-dovey talk. I just find it so funny how in a confessional though with his brother, Sheldon spoke on not knowing what he wants to do once he graduates. Yeah, he knows he wants to move in with Cheyenne and marry her. So make up your mind, do you know or do you not know? Moving on in the show, we are introduced to another band member, Naijai, who is a freshman and she is a flag twirler, but where I'm from, we call them flagettes. Now this is Naijai's first time being in a band, and she only tried out for the Twirling Thunders because she wanted to try something new going into college. And she made the team, and I love that for her. Yes, girl. That's good that she did try out and make it, even though she didn't have any experience, because baby, I know twirling them flags is hard and it takes technique, and it's good to know she pushed through it. But even though Naijai is on the team, she is now struggling with keeping up with some of the other girls because most of the team has already been doing it since high school. Therefore, they have the practice and understanding of being a flagette, whereas Naijai is having a harder time and she's still learning as she goes. But she's figuring it out. So we get into a scene with Javari and Naijai, and I can clearly tell that they are cool with each other as they discuss how they are crabs in the band together, which basically means they are the rookies of the band. So they have to put in a little overtime as far as their position goes. But with them being crabs, they are building a bond, spending a lot of time together. Now seeing that was all cute and all, but I have to say it, that scene seemed pretty produced. Similar to how I felt about Jesus and Aaron conversation being forced. It just came off as they were told to meet up at a certain spot and just start talking about how they feel being freshmen in the band. That way the cameras can pick it up, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, because I understand this is a new show and they need as much content as possible to have a fully completed show. But my God, I wish they could have at least played it off better. The way that Javari was asking Naijai questions was so awkward because you can tell it was something he already knew and probably asked her before, so he felt weird asking her again. And Naijai's response seemed to be honest and real, but it felt like it was rehearsed. Granted, one of the things I like about Naijai so far is that I can tell she's a great public speaker. That's amazing. Another thing I like is that she opened up about her family a little and her experience being from Louisiana and how her and her family used to stay in a shelter and had a hard time. I just wanted to go through the screen and hug her. I really did. She also said that she's the first to come to college and she wants to be the first to graduate. And I think that was important for her to bring up because I don't think any of the other cast members brought that up. Granted, they may not be first generation college students, but having someone on the show that is will be very insightful for other people because I was first generation. So like, I can tell that if I was in school, I would have loved being her peer mentor. I'm not sure if that's something they have at Prairie View, but we had that at FAMU, and I went from being a mentee to a mentor, and it was the best thing ever. But that's neither here nor there. Enough about me. Moving on in the show, we get to see some Tre and Nemo action. And I must say, I was surprised that we got a scene with them too because I didn't even think they knew each other. And it's also funny seeing them together because Nemo is so tall and Tre is so short. Like, Nemo gives me the height of a drum major, and Tre just, you know, he probably got the moves. And now that I am on the conversation about their height, I've been meant to bring up how the drum majors that are already in place are a tad bit shorter to me than the usual height I am used to seeing on HBCU drum majors. I mean, Aaron looks a little tall, but Jalen and Jesus look short. But anyways, like I was saying, I didn't expect them to be in a scene together because I didn't think they knew of each other like that. Yeah, I get they are in a band, but I don't see them really hanging out for real. Especially because when they were together, neither one of them knew they wanted to be drum majors, yet they met up to work out, to be in shape for drum majors. I don't know, whatever. Fillers. Now what I will say is that I can appreciate seeing them together because like I said, they both want to be drum majors so they can help each other out and give each other pep talks if needed. Plus, Tre's personality is more subtle than Nemo's snappy ass, so maybe he can help balance Nemo out. But then again, Tre already have one child, and I'm sure he's trying to, you know, have another. Not saying like Nemo a child, but yeah. But seriously, Nemo needs to grow up and stop having these rage episodes. But maybe Nemo is somewhat getting better because we did get another filler scene where Nemo was helping the band members with some dances, and although he was complaining about them not catching on, he still was helping them nicely in a Nemo way. So I give him that. But the fact that he will complain about them not catching on when he wants them to catch on will always give me a reason to say he has a lot more work to do. a leader, a real leader, won't complain, but they are going to make sure the job gets done and they just move on to the next. But he didn't scream at them this time, so progress, progress, progress. Now, the ending of the episode, as they are getting ready to head out to Texas A&M, Tre brings up how his car caught on fire with him in his uniform in it. And thank God he was able to get out safely and he was able to get his uniform, but his shoes unfortunately got burned. The shoes that he supposed to wear with his uniform. But thank God he is all right, because that's crazy. So he made it to the school and he is still wanting to perform, but his mind is running rapid, like his mind all over the place. Shit, he almost died. Oops, excuse my language. Yet he says the only thing keeping him sane is being able to perform and keep it off his mind. So that's great. This was an okay episode. We got introduced to more band members and got some more history on the school, which I love, because there are so many HBCUs out there and they all got their own history. So learning a little bit of it through the show is great. But I can definitely tell that this was a filler episode because not much happened, but it held my attention. So with that being said, you already know what it is and how it goes down over here. Like this video, comment your thoughts below on how you feel about this show so far. And last but certainly not least, subscribe and join the queendom, baby. Bye.